On a frigid winter night in Houston, with temperatures dipping below 30 degrees Fahrenheit and frost glazing the windshields of the tactical unit's unmarked van, Officer Mark Davis and his K-9 partner Axel prepared for a high-stakes raid. The target was a suspected drug house, a squat single-story building with blacked-out windows and a reinforced door, sitting ominously at the end of a dimly lit block. Mark, a 15-year veteran with a calm, steely focus, held Axel's leash tight as the team breached the door with a thunderous crash. The German Shepherd, his black and rust coat taut over a powerful 80-pound frame, moved with silent precision, trained to sense danger before it struck. They cleared the first rooms in seconds, boots whispering across the floor, but in a narrow hallway, chaos erupted. A shadowy figure lunged from the darkness, gun raised, a flash splitting the silence. Mark saw the glint of steel too late, but Axel didn't hesitate. In a split second, he launched himself into the air, taking a bullet square in the side, his body twisting as he collided with the suspect. The impact knocked the gun free, a second shot firing harmlessly as the team swarmed in. Axel hit the concrete, blood pooling fast, maybe a pint in moments, yet his shallow breaths proved he was still fighting. Mark dropped to his knees, hands trembling as he pressed the wound, tears streaming down his face. "Stay with me, boy," he choked out. "You saved my life." Hardened officers stood stunned, their radios buzzing with urgent calls as they lifted Axel onto a stretcher meant for humans. In that frozen moment, Axel's sacrifice, a dog's unwavering loyalty, etched itself into the soul of every cop there, a testament to a bond stronger than bullets. Long before Axel became a K-9 hero, he was a ghost of a dog, wandering the gritty outskirts of Houston, some 10 miles from the city's heart. When animal control found him near a crumbling warehouse, his ribs jutted through a mangy coat, and a limp betrayed an old injury, maybe from a fight or a cruel hand. At the shelter, the 70-pound German Shepherd flinched at every voice, retreating from outstretched hands, his scars and wary growl earning him the label unadoptable. Weeks ticked by in a 6 by 8 foot kennel, space running low, his days numbered. Then came Officer Mark Davis, a Houston cop with 15 years on the force and a knack for spotting potential in broken things. Mark didn't see a lost cause in Axel's steady, weary eyes. He saw fire. He signed the papers, bringing the dog home to a quiet yard and a chance at redemption. The start was rough. Axel growled at a touch, refused kibble, and sat by the door for hours, as if waiting for a pass that wouldn't return. Mark didn't push. He offered patience, routine, and countless hours training in a 50-foot backyard. Slowly, Axel began to trust, first with a glance, then a step, until one day, 6 months in, he nailed a mock exercise tracking a scent across 100 yards with precision. When it ended, he pressed his head against Mark's leg, a gesture that sealed their bond. From a discarded stray to a disciplined K-9, Axel's resilience turned abandonment into purpose, proving that even the most battered souls can rise again with someone who believes in them. His redemption wasn't just a new life. It was a legacy of courage waiting to unfold. Months after Axel took a bullet to save Officer Mark Davis during a drug raid, the German Shepherd proved his bravery wasn't a one-time feat. It started as a routine day. Mark, a 15-year veteran with the Houston Police Department, was assigned a solo walkthrough of an old warehouse on the city's industrial edge, about 8 miles from the station. The building, flagged in a prior drug case, smelled of mildew and rust, its air thick with dust as Mark swept the rooms with a flashlight, covering maybe 200 feet of cracked concrete. It was supposed to be quick. No risks, just a check-in. Then a corroded electrical panel sparked violently, a boom shaking the walls as flames erupted from a side room. Within seconds, smoke choked the 20-foot hallway, fire racing up dry walls and broken ceiling tiles, temperatures soaring past 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit near the source. Mark's radio sputtered and died. Disoriented, coughing, he dropped to the floor, crawling toward the exit 30 feet away. But the heat closed in, his lungs burning as a consciousness faded. Back at the station, Axel, usually calm, resting near Mark's desk, paced wildly, barking at the empty patrol car, circling it like a caged storm. Officers noticed He's acting weird. A GPS check revealed Mark's last ping 2 hours ago. No sign out. Axel bolted when they opened the door, leading a convoy across town through back alleys, his instincts guiding him 8 miles to the warehouse. Smoke billowed from shattered windows as he charged inside, ignoring shouts to stop. Through haze and sparks, he found Mark slumped against a fallen beam, barely alive, flames licking 5 feet away. Grabbing Mark's sleeve with his teeth, Axel dragged his 150-pound handler, inch by inch, foot by foot, over 20 feet of debris to the threshold. The team burst in with extinguishers, pulling them out as paramedics swarmed. Mark rasped, "You came!" and Axel pressed his singed head to his chest. The unit stood in awe, hardened cops silenced by a dog who'd braved fire for the man he loved, his second act of bravery etching his name deeper into their hearts. The partnership between Officer Mark Davis and his K-9 companion Axel wasn't born overnight. It was forged through patience, grit, and a quiet understanding that grew stronger with every step. When Mark, a Houston cop with over 15 years under his belt, first brought Axel home from the shelter, the German Shepherd was a 70-pound bundle of scars and suspicion, abandoned and labeled unadoptable. He'd growl at a touch, refuse food, and sit by the door for hours, staring out at a 50-foot yard as if waiting for someone who'd never come. Mark, a man who'd walked countless miles on the beat, didn't force it. Instead, he gave Axel space. Days turned into weeks of slow training, starting with short 10-foot walks, hand signals, and a steady supply of treats. Little by little, Axel's flinches faded. He began watching Mark, mirroring his calm. The turning point came 6 months in during a mock exercise. Axel tracked a scent across 100 yards, sat on command, and then for the first time, pressed his head against Mark's leg, a silent pledge of trust. From there, they became inseparable, assigned full-time as a K-9 unit. On the job, they moved like extensions of each other. Mark's subtle nod sending Axel sniffing down a 20-foot hallway. Axel's alert ears tipping Mark to danger before it struck. Their language wasn't loud. It was built on glances, gestures, and a rhythm honed over hundreds of hours together. Whether breaching a drug house or patrolling Houston streets, Axel didn't just follow orders. He anticipated them, cutting through chaos with a precision that left the team in awe. Mark once said Axel saved him long before the bullet, pulling him through the grind of the badge with a loyalty that needed no words. That bond, tested by gunfire and fire, turned them into a duo the department still talks about, a testament to how trust and partnership can grow from the toughest soil into something unbreakable, a force that carried them through the darkest nights and back into the light. After Axel took a bullet to save Officer Mark Davis during a Houston drug raid, his fight was far from over. It was just beginning. The German Shepherd, a 70-pound force of loyalty, had lost nearly a quart of blood, the bullet tearing through muscle and nicking a rib 9 inches deep in his side. Rushed 5 miles to an emergency vet hospital under police escort, he survived a grueling surgery, but the road ahead loomed steep. Vets warned Mark, 15 years a cop, now pacing a sterile hallway with red eyes, that Axel's shoulder damage might never heal right. He could be limping for life, his days of chasing suspects across 100-yard lots done. Mark didn't care about duty, he cared about Axel breathing. Rehab started slow in a quiet center, progress measured in inches, not miles. Axel's first tries to stand buckled under his weight, legs trembling as he collapsed onto a padded floor, whimpering in frustration. Mark knelt beside him, whispering, "If you don't quit, neither will I," stroking fur matted with 3 months of struggle. Every day they pushed. Short 10-foot walks down a hallway, hydrotherapy in a 6-foot tank, laser treatments soothing torn tissue. Axel stumbled, groaned, but kept going, Mark steadying him when he bled or snarled in pain. Setbacks hit hard. One morning, after a rough session, Axel lay still, eyes dim, refusing to move. Mark sat there for hours, waiting until dusk when Axel dragged himself up, one paw forward. 3 months later, on a Tuesday, he limped 15 feet to Mark's patrol car, climbed in with a grunt, and curled into his old spot. That afternoon, they rolled into the station, not for work, just to show up. The place went silent, then erupted. Cops, detectives, even the chief clapping until their hands stung. Tears hidden behind sunglasses. Axel, battered but unbroken, stood beside Mark, his triumph over adversity a quiet roar of resilience that echoed through the precinct, proving that some warriors don't just survive, they rise again, stronger than before. After surviving a bullet and a fire to save Officer Mark Davis, Axel's days of charging into danger ended with a hero's farewell. The Houston Police Department gathered for their annual award ceremony, the air crisp at maybe 65 degrees Fahrenheit, as the chief pinned the K-9 Valor Medal, a silver paw print gleaming, onto Axel's vest. Mark, a 15-year veteran whose voice cracked recounting their story, knelt beside his 70-pound German shepherd as applause rolled on for minutes, officers standing tall in dress blues. Axel had earned retirement 100 times over. No more midnight raids or 100-yard sprints through Houston streets. That afternoon, Mark signed the papers, taking Axel home not as a partner, but as family. For the first time, Axel had a real bed, not a kennel crate, but a plush spot by a fireplace, flames flickering 3 feet away on cool nights. His badge tag swapped unit for family, and a 100-foot backyard became his kingdom, grass soft under paws that once pounded pavement. A year later, when Mark brought baby Mia home, Axel sniffed her gently, then lay by her crib, a silent guardian on wobbly legs. To Mia, growing into a 5-year-old with barefoot runs across the yard, he wasn't a K-9 legend. He was soldier doggy, letting her nap against his side, watching her with eyes that never dimmed. Years passed, his muzzle grayed, his limp deepened from that 9-inch bullet scar, and squirrels outran him. But Axel's legacy wasn't in chases. It was in the peace he'd earned. One golden afternoon, sun spilling warm at 75 degrees Fahrenheit, Mia's laughter bounced off a fence 50 feet away as Axel stretched beneath an oak tree, head on paws, tracking her every move. Mark watched from the porch, arms crossed, a quiet smile breaking through. As dusk painted the sky, Axel closed his eyes, not from exhaustion, but contentment. His retirement wasn't just rest. It was a legacy of love, loyalty, and a life that left paw prints on a family and a precinct, a hero whose quiet presence spoke louder than any medal ever could. The night Axel took a bullet for Officer Mark Davis, the Houston Police Department's tactical unit, hardened men and women who'd faced shootouts and chaos across miles of city streets, stood frozen in a way they never had before. It was a frigid evening, frost clinging to windshields at maybe 30 degrees Fahrenheit as they breached a drug house 10 miles from downtown. When the gunshot cracked through the 20-foot hallway and Axel hit the concrete, blood pooling fast, nearly a pint in moments, the air went still. Mark, a 15-year veteran who'd never flinched in a firefight, dropped to his knees, tears streaming as he pressed the 9-inch wound, sobbing, "Stay with me, boy." These were cops who'd seen it all, yet Axel's sacrifice broke them open. Later, when he ran into a burning warehouse 8 miles from the station, dragging Mark's 150-pound frame through smoke and flames, licking 5 feet away, the unit watched in stunned silence again, radios buzzing, extinguishers idle, as paramedics pulled them free. Back at the precinct, applause erupted, but it was the quiet tears behind sunglasses that told the story. At the flag ceremony, Axel's limp didn't stop him from sitting tall beside Mark, the American flag rising 30 feet above, and officers' hands moved to hearts, some choking back sobs. This wasn't just a dog. This was loyalty in fur, a 70-pound shepherd who redefined courage for a team used to steel and grit. Axel's actions, taking a bullet, braving fire, left an emotional scar on the unit, a raw, beautiful wound that reminded them heroism isn't always human. In love can hit harder than any bullet ever could. Axel's journey, from a forsaken stray to a K-9 hero who took a bullet and braved fire for Officer Mark Davis, offers profound lessons for anyone over 30 who's weathered life's storms. First, resilience can turn scars into strength. Axel's recovery from a 9-inch bullet wound, limping 15 feet back to Mark's patrol car, reminds us that setbacks don't define us. Our refusal to quit does. Second, loyalty builds unbreakable bonds. Axel's instinct to save Mark, twice risking his 70-pound frame, shows that true commitment shines brightest in crisis, whether it's standing by a friend or family through tough times. Finally, purpose can bloom from second chances. Once unadoptable, Axel found meaning in a backyard with Mia, proving that even broken beginnings can lead to a legacy of love. For us, this means pushing through a job loss, mending a strained relationship, or finding joy in small victories, like a quiet 50-foot walk after a hard day. Axel's story whispers that heroism isn't loud. It's the quiet choice to keep going, to protect what matters, and to live with a heart bigger than our fears, leaving paw prints of hope on the lives we touch.